Why people lie. Psychological reason. Shave you ever caught someone in a lead? Instead of feeling anger, you felt confused. You kept thinking, well, we would someone risk trust for something so small? Why hide the truth when honesty would have been easier? Truth is most people do not lie because they are evil. They lie because they are afraid. Lying is rarely about hurting someone on purpose. More often, it is about protecting something fragile. Instead, let us talk about the real psychological reasons why people lie. First reason is fear of losing someone. Many people lie because they are terrified of abandonment. They believe that if they tell the truth, they will be rejected, judged, or left behind. So instead of facing possible loss, they choose temporary safety. They tell themselves it is just one lie. It will protect the relationship. It will prevent drama. But what they do not realize is that a relationship protected by lies is already unstable. The very lie told to keep someone often becomes the reason that person walks away. Second reason is fear of judgment. A lot of people do not feel safe being fully seen. They are scared that if you know everything about them, their mistakes, their weakness, their insecurity, will see them differently. So they create a version of themselves that feels more acceptable. They exaggerate it. They hide details. They reshape the truth, not because they enjoy deception, but because they do not feel worthy. As they err, for them lying becomes a shield, a way to control how others perceive them. Third reason is shame. Shame is one of the heaviest emotions a human being can carry. When someone feels ashamed about something they did, admitting it out loud feels unbearable because speaking the truth would force them to confront who they have been. So they lean out to destroy someone else, but to protect their own image. Sometimes they are not even protecting their reputation in front of you. They are protecting the image they have of themselves. And when guilt mixes with first lie, feels like the easiest escape. Another powerful reason people lie is conflict avoidance. Some people are deeply uncomfortable with confrontation. They grew up in environments where arguments felt dangerous or disagreement meant chows, where expressing the truth led to emotional explosion. So they learned that silence is safer. Half-truths are safer. Agreement is safer. They lie to avoid tension. They lie to keep peace, but the peace built on dishonesty never lasts because unresolved truth always finds its way back to the surface. Another reason is childhood conditioning. If a person grew up in a home where telling the truth led to punishment, humiliation, emotional withdrawal, they learned something very important at a very young age. Truth equals danger. So lying becomes a survival strategy. It becomes automatic. They may not even consciously decide to lie. It happens quickly, almost instinctive. Like us, somewhere inside their nervous system still believes honesty is unsafe. For some people, lying is not manipulation, it is protection. There is also the desire for control, and people feel powerless in their lives. Lying can give them a temporary sense of control. Be controlling information. They control the narrative. They control how others reacted. Makes them feel less vulnerable because vulnerability requires trust, and trust feels risky. Another difficult truth is the sometimes people lie because they have already lied to themselves. Self-deception is powerful. A person can convince themselves that what they are doing is not that serious, that no one will really get hurt. It they will fix everything later. When someone rewrites reality in their own meaning to others becomes easier because in their head it no longer feels like a lie. It feels justified, and justification makes dishonesty feel reasonable. Other is also insecurity. Some people lie to seem more successful, more confident, more experienced, more desirable. They are not trying to hurt anyone. They are trying to feel enough in a world where everyone seems and it's smarter. If the truth about where you actually are can feel embarrassing, so they create a version of reality that feels safer to present. But every time they lie to feel and all, they silently reinforce the belief that who they truly are is not a now hand. That belief becomes deeper. No, here is something important to understand. Why people lie does not mean accepting the lie. It does not mean tolerating betrayal, but it does help you see that lying is often rooted in fear and insecurity and unhealed wounds, not always in cruelty. Trust is fragile. It's broken. It changes the entire emotional dynamics. Even if forgiveness happens, sound of the relationship is never exactly the same, because trust is not just about truth. It is about emotional safety. When someone leaves the damage, that safety in rebuilding, it requires consistent honesty, not just apologies or mediums. The person who lies is struggling internally more than you realize. Sometimes they are battling shame for self And instead of asking for help to hide because hiding feels easier than being exposed. But here is the deeper lesson. Honesty requires courage. It requires the willingness to be seen fully flaws. And it requires accepting that you might disappoint. Some enough that you might face consequence, that you might feel uncomfortable. Lying avoids discomfort in the short term, but it creates heavier consequences in the long term. Of you have been lied to, it is okay to feel hurt. Your feelings are valid. If you have lied to someone, it is important to ask yourself why. What were you protecting? What were you afraid of? What part of you felt unsafe? Because when you understand the root, you can start healing. Its goal is not perfection. The goal is awareness. When we become aware of our fears or shame or insecurity, is rely less on deception and more on courage. At the end of the day, people lie because they are human. Humans are afraid. Humans are insecure. Humans are complicated. But growth begins the moment we choose truth over fear, even when truth is uncomfortable. Because living honestly might feel risky, but living inside least is heavier. And eventually, the truth always asks to be seen. If this made you reflect on someone or maybe even yourself, take a moment and ask, where in my life am I choosing fear instead of honesty? That is where real change begins.